Good evening and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Hartford City Plan Commission. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the item on the agenda would be the review of the minutes of the July 10th meeting. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, microphone. No.
You're pretty clear, though.
Hello. Okay, now I'm on. Sorry about that, folks. We're not going to go back, so I'm just going to keep going forward. So we had a motion and a second, and all in favor of the approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we'd like to open up for any appearances. Any appearances by anyone that would like to bring up anything to the Planning Commission at this point in time?
You got someone coming up.
Okay, come on up, sir. Go to the podium, speak your name and your address, please, and bring that microphone right up to so we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Larry Krellkamp, and my address is W846 Highway N, Rubicon. And I just want to talk about the water problem that we might have with the land that's right next to where Gooch Renters are going to be putting their welding shop. It's not that I'm against them building there, you know. It's just that I know that property like the back of my hand because I worked with my father-in-law there since the 70s. And anyway, we did have problems with that land. And I know that we had put it washed out along by Highway N and on the back of the farm. That would be to the north. Now, on the backside, I know Gooch Renters have tried to fix that problem a little bit. And up in the front, I had the county bring in ground there. 2 days I pushed with my cat. That's how deep the ditches were from the top of the hill all the way down to the bottom. Now, we've had it already. My father-in-law had built a berm there, and we've had it where it's come over the top of the berm, not only at the beginning or at the end, in the middle. Down by our farm down in the bottom down there, the water, we dug a ditch around the house by the shed, or right by the shed there, and by the yard there, and just to get the water away. We've had it where it's come down already so hard that it would come down the berm, go down the ditch, and then it would run across the road, or across the ditch, not across the road. It would come down towards the house, into the house, and down into the barn. It's a big water problem down there. On the other side, the road floods down there, usually once a year. That's a tremendous hill right there. You have a lot of water coming from the schoolhouse up there, and it all comes this way. Now we're going to be losing that ground that would have took the water in, and now it's going to be in a building. So we've got to try to address that problem with a 8-10 acre retention pond or something like that to hold that water so it doesn't come down and flood our crops out down in the bottom down there. I know that up on the top up there, there's one spring up there, and I have springs in my ground. And I'm just trying to make it that my crops will be okay, you know. And it's just that I'm trying to say that we have a water problem there. And with putting a building there, it's going to, you know, this has been a dry year, so we haven't had a problem, you know, too much at all. The last 2 years has been good, matter of fact, or 3. But a couple of years ago, it ran across the road and across and down by the buildings. In the spring of the year, when the ground is still hard, it will come down there too yet, by us, by the farm down there. You know, because the culverts can't handle it. And then it goes to work and it comes over to the house or the barn. You know, so I don't know what else to say. You know, but it's the water.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, Larry. Okay, we will be moving on then to item 4, discussion and consideration of an extraterritorial certified survey map for the northwest corner of Goodland Road and County Highway N, Town of Rubicon. City Planner Jacob Moss, could we have the executive summary, please?
All right, GWI Properties LLC, James Gutenschreider, I'm sorry if I heard that or massacred that name, I apologize, is asking for extraterritorial review of a certified survey map for the northwest corner of Goodland Road and County Trunk Highway N in the town of Rubicon. The existing property is 29.408 acres. He's looking to split it into two parcels to create a lot that is, lot one being 8.467 acres of land with 0.467 of that being right of way, and the remainder 20.941 acres, of which 1.205 acres are right of way. So those are the two lots that he's looking to create. In December 2018, the parcel was rezoned from A2 General Agricultural District to I2 Industrial District. So that currently that parcel is completely zoned industrial. At the time, the current owners could not split the land due to a short length of time that they owned the land. The Rubicon Land Division Ordinance didn't allow for that at that time. So the minutes from the December 10th, 2018 City of Hartford Plan Commission meetings note that the submittal deadline of August 31st, 2023 would be set for a certified survey map splitting the property, and no more than 8 acres of this parcel would be industrial. So the owner has submitted the rezoning request to change the zoning of Lot 2 to A2 Agriculture and leaving Lot 1 to remain I2 Industrial District. The two new parcels meet the minimum square footage and width requirements for the I2 and A2 districts. The town of Rubicon approved the land split at its April 25th, 2023 Plan Commission and the May 9th, 2023 Town Board meeting. They have a comprehensive zoning ordinance in place that gives the city zoning jurisdiction for the 12 sections east of County Trunk Highway 12 or Highway P in the town of Rubicon. So again, subject to our review. The city of Hartford and the town also entered into an intermunicipal agreement that further manages how growth and land division in these 12 sectors shall occur. The city agrees to adopt and enforce town zoning, town land division rules, and town land use plans in effect at the signing of this agreement for all areas outside the city growth area. And if you actually look at that map behind Commissioner Brian Bowman, or Balin, sorry, there's that blue line. They are right on the other side of the city growth area. If they were on the other side of Goodland Road, they would be in the city growth area, so they're not subject to that. So that is why they don't have to comply with that. So again, it conforms to the comprehensive zoning ordinance and the intermunicipal agreement and the town of Rubicon land division. So we are looking for, we're recommending approval of the CSM.
Thank you, Jacob. Any discussion at this time? Joe?
So just so I understand it, when we purchased the land in 2018, we rezoned it from agricultural and A2 to an I2 to industrial.
Correct.
With the understanding that he was going to be building out there and expanding the weld shop. And I remember going through that, I remember agreeing to it, and I do remember also, one of my biggest things on there was to make sure that the access was not on end because of the hill and where it's at. So today what we're doing here is, just so I understand this correctly, is what we're doing is we're taking, now he can actually bust it down. He doesn't need it all as industrial. He wants to turn most of it into agricultural. Almost looks like a horseshoe around the industrial part that he's going to leave, and that's the 8.1
Yep, correct.
acres. Okay, then I think I understand this one.
Okay. And to address the concerns of the citizen, industrial falls under NR 151, which is the Wisconsin DNR's requirements for stormwater runoff. If you go over an acre of disturbance, which odds are this will, because it's not just the footprint of the building, it's the driveway, it's the parking area, that will probably hit 1 acre, and then they have to do a notice of intent to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, and then they will have to mitigate any type of stormwater runoff from that type of development.
No, and that's great, because actually during the storm today, I did get out and I did take a drive over there. I did notice, like I said, they listened when they put in there. They actually looked like they had put some of the, where the driveways would go in coming off of Goodman Road instead of N. It's not, in fact, the industrial part of it's not even going to be on N at all. That's still going to be agricultural, strip or two of that. But I did see on the corner of N and Goodman Road or Standing Water, going down that hill, I saw the berm in the house. Luckily there was no water in there, but I did find, if you guys ever take a ride down there, you go a little bit further, and right in front of the barn, there is some standing water. So again, I think that's part of maybe the direction you had. At the very bottom of there is a creek. So I think as we go forward, I'd like to see too is, that they look in, what can they do with that whole route? As Larry made a comment, the road's higher than the ground, so it's gonna, and even the berm, it's gonna go that direction opposed to the roadside. So I do agree that it probably will be greater, and I just hope that they can look in and fix that entire path down there so we don't have the water situation. So, but I had seen some of the standing water that Mr. Krellkamp had mentioned in his speech here just a couple minutes ago. And granted, it was pretty heavy rains today after some dry weather, and that's the kind of times you're gonna have those floods, so. But it's good to see the agricultural area around it. We'll be able to at least, help a little bit, I would think, with some of, it's not all gonna be 20 acres of driveway and parking lot, so.
Any other questions, comments?
We're here just to approve the rezoning of it, correct?
Well, right
This-
now, we're just approving the lots of the division of the
Parcel.
one lot. Yeah, the parcels.
Okay.
That's all we're doing now.
In the future, you would have to submit something,
Well, that's our next slide, that's the next
Right.
agenda item.
okay. That's where we could address the watershed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is just addressing the certified survey map and the site,
The creation
dividing
of two
of
lots.
that into two.
Parcel.
So looking for a motion. Motion
I'll second.
and a second by Joe. Any other comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item is the discussion and consideration of a rezone of a portion of the property at the northwest corner of Goodland Road and County Highway N, Town of Rubicon. Jacob, I'll turn it over to you again.
All right, so again, this is the same two parcels. This time we're just looking at the Lot 2, which was the 20-acre parcel, rezoning it from I-2 to A2. Again, all this came about in 2018 when they rezoned it all to industrial. Because of the timelines of ownership, they couldn't split the parcel and rezone back rezone part of the parcel to A2, so that there came back here. So again, we're just looking, the staff recommends approval of the extraterritorial rezoning request for Lot 2 of the proposed certified survey map that you just approved at the corner of Goodland Road and County Trunk Highway N.
Okay, we've heard that executive summary. Any questions, comments regarding this? Yes, Joe?
So going back to what Scott was saying then, so with this one, would this be the area where we would request at least or does it come with the amount of ground that's being covered for the review of the water runoff and stuff? Where does that come in at?
The review would come in at the time of development. Their contractor, because this is industrial, would have to go through state approvals to do this type of development. It's not a single family, and odds are the town of Rubicon doesn't have review of industrial, so it'd probably go to the state, and at that time, it would also trigger the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resource Review.
So
If they-
that's all part of this process then,
Yes.
as they develop, come up
Yes.
with the development of the properties?
Correct.
Okay. That answer?
Thanks, Joe. Yep.
Yes, Ralph?
Does that get stated in this review, that we want it checked over, or?
The zoning code is the development is what would trigger it. It all depends. I haven't seen the site plan for it yet. And I'm still trying to gather what we all get to review as a city in regards to the intergovernmental agreement with the town of Rubicon. Again, this isn't on the city growth side, this is on the town growth side, so our review isn't quite as extensive, but we do have zoning regulate, or there's a comprehensive zoning code for that. So some of the review will go through us for review, and at that time, that would trigger any type of, it would get engineering review as well, so that would then, then we would most likely submit or tell them they need to apply for a permit with the notice of intent with the DNR, and then the DNR would review it to make sure that there is some sort of stormwater runoff requirements or regulations. And it should be noted that this will appear as a public hearing at the August 22nd Common Council meeting as well.
So Jacob, does this, would this go before the town first?
The town has
As-
all reviewed this already.
They've reviewed all this already?
Yeah.
So if they were to get to submit a plan,
Yep.
they would submit that to the town?
I believe we have to have zoning review of it, so that would, in our comprehensive zoning code with the town of Rubicon, we do review the zoning portion of it and to make sure it's compliant with the zoning code. And then engineering would also check and verify as part of that, and then that is when we would make sure that they and the town are aware of the DNR requirements.
So then we wouldn't have to, I mean, if we approved it just with like a conditional that we had that the water runoff part of the thing, this wouldn't be the time to do it, you do that during the development stage?
Correct.
Okay. So this is truly just the zoning,
Correct.
rezoning back to agricultural?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Looking for a motion then to approve the rezoning of the portion of the property at the northwest corner of Goodland Road.
Motion approved.
Motion? Have a second? Second here? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 6, discussion and consideration of an extraterritorial certified survey map to vacate the right-of-way at County Highway E and County Highway K in the town of Hartford and the town of Erin. Jacob?
All right, again, Washington County Highway Department, Ted Dumke is the applicant for them, is proposing to vacate .125 or 5,432 square feet of right-of-way at the intersections of County Trunk Highway E and County Trunk Highway K, creating Outlot 1. Outlot 1 is located within Sewer PAC's primary environmental corridor. Vacation of the County Trunk Highways falls under Wisconsin State Statutes 83. So those are kind of the guidelines shown to you. So it does need the county board's approval as well for vacation. Internally, our review, the map does not so the concerns from staff are the map does not distinguish between Wisconsin wetland inventory boundaries and Sewer PAC's 2022 wetland delineation. We would like those shown. Wisconsin wetland inventory versus the Sewer PAC's. Sewer PAC's delineation would fall under Wisconsin statute 23.321 paren 5, which goes to length and validity of wetland delineations. They are good for Sewer PAC's or any type of non-DNR entity that does a delineation. They're good for 5 years, unless there are other circumstances where the Army Corps of Engineers chimes in and states that it's not waters of the nation. Then in that case, they can get up to 17 years timeline. But for the most part, no one really ever does that to get the determination by the Army Corps. So for the most part, that Sewer PAC validity is for, the validity of their delineation is for 5 years. So I want that delineated out versus the Wisconsin wetland inventory, which is more of a general boundary that hasn't been field delineated. So I just want those two delineations marked separately or differently on the CSM so that we are aware of that. And then also, the question remains, will Outlot 1 remain separate from 2519 County Trunk Highway K? Ideally, the outlot would be combined with 2519 County Trunk Highway K. The outlot, I mean, in its natural state is kind of a non-conforming lot by most standards. So just to create a small outlot when it could easily be joined as part of the vacation or right-of-way or discontinuance or right-of-way, which is generally how, if the city was to do it, it would just become part of the private property abutting it, 50/50 if it's on the property line. But for the most part, it should be part of that other parcel. So this planning staff recommends approval of resolution number 2023-001 for the CSM allowing vacation or right-of-way, the intersection of County Trunk Highway E and County Trunk Highway K, subject to the following conditions. The CSM shall distinguish between the Wisconsin Wetland Inventory Map boundaries and Sewer Packs 2022 delineation boundaries, and Outlot 1 shall be combined with 2519 County Trunk Highway K.
So in essence, there's not really going to be an outlot 1. It's going to be,
In my opinion, they should be combined with 2519
Okay.
County Trunk Highway K.
any questions, comments? If not, need a motion? Motion by Brian, second by Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 7, discussion and consideration regarding the petition for approval for the removal of trees within the wetland preservation restriction at 1346 Glacier Court. Jacob?
All right, Borland Farms LLC, which was Newman Developments Incorporated with the registered agent of Matthew Newman, received a letter from the city of Hartford in May of 2022 detailing the wetland preservation restriction requirements for 1346 Glacier Court, which is, the map is attached, or the actual letter to Borland Farms LLC is attached in the packet. In April 2023, the deed for 1346 Glacier Court transferred to Harbor Homes, Inc. Matthew Newman is the registered agent for them as well. Harbor Homes, Inc. proceeded to develop 1346 Glacier Court. In the process, removed trees within the wetland preservation restriction area identified on the final plat. Again, there's the language for the Borland Farms final plat for the wetland preservation restrictions in your executive summary. There's an attached email from the Washington County. If you notice, it needs approval of the Washington Park and Planning Commission. They deferred back to the city as they did not have jurisdiction over this within the corporate limits of the city of Hartford. And then the attached is the petition and map from Harbor Homes, which indicates where the trees were removed, the diameter at breast height. So they varied in different sizes. Staff review, the trees removed were not located within any wetlands identified by the Wisconsin Wetland Inventory. So you have a map there showing the boundaries of the wetlands from the Wisconsin Wetland Inventory. The trees removed are not located within the Wisconsin DNR identified wetland indicator areas, which are hydric soils. So they're not wetland soils where these trees were removed. And then the trees removed were box elder species, which are low quality tree species and are susceptible to wind damage. I believe when we just had our power outage, the vast majority of the trees that caused this were either silver maples or box elders. So they're not high quality wetland trees by any stretch of the imagination. So the planning staff recommends granting approval of the removal of the box elder trees from the wetland preservation restriction.
Thank you, Jacob. Any discussion, question? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, good motion? Motion by Ralph, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carried. Number 8, public hearing for a conditional use permit to allow a light manufacturing warehouse at 1625 Independence Avenue. This time I will open the hearing. And a reading of the public notice, please.
All right. Notice of public hearing, City of Hartford Plan Commission. Please take notice that the public hearing will be held at 5:30 p.m. or thereafter on August 14th, 2023 in the Common Council Chambers at the lower level of City Hall, 109 North Main Street by the City of Hartford Plan Commission to consider the following. A request for a conditional use has been filed by Boyd Coleman to allow a light manufacturing warehouse at the property 1625 Independence Avenue, tax key number 36-1802-005-003, zoned M4 Industrial Park District. Section 13.0404 of the Municipal Code states that following a public hearing and after careful consideration, the Plan Commission may grant the conditional use permit as applied for, grant the conditional use permit with conditions deemed appropriate, or deny the permit. A map of the parcel and proposed renderings can be reviewed in the Planning and Zoning Office by appointment, 109 North Main Street, Monday through Friday, between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. The purpose of said hearing is to hear those who wish to express their opinion for or against the granting of the conditional use permit, dated this 28th day of July 2023. Shanna Creelcamp, City Clerk, City of Hartford.
Thank you, Jacob. We have a chance to catch your breath. That's a lot of reading there. And when you're ready, we will ask you to do the staff review.
All right, so a little background again here. KGBF Properties LLC, Robert Garing, registered agent and property owner, and American Vending Sales Incorporated, Maurice Nicholson, registered agent and applicant, are looking to develop 1625 Independence Avenue for light manufacturing and warehousing land uses. 1625 Independence Avenue is zoned M4 Industrial Park District. 1625 Independence Avenue is currently a vacant parcel. Conditional use permit requirements and staff comments. Attached in your packets are the plan of business operations. Light industrial and warehousing land uses are conditional uses under section 13.0323 paren C of the City of Hartford's M4 zoning code. Section 13.0323 paren C paren 1 states all principal and accessory uses permitted in the M1, M2, and M3 districts, as long as such uses are wholly contained within the building or building arranged in a compatible grouping and is visually attractive and in a visually attractive setting. So the uses that he's described in his application, the first one would be wholesale warehouse district, which would be M1. Storage buildings or yards of goods and materials other than chemicals, flammable liquids, and gaseous, vaporous, or explosive substances where such goods or materials are temporarily stored inside a building or within an open area, visually screened from public streets or highways and adjacent non-industrial uses, and where the individual goods or materials are not reduced in size or basically changed in character. So again, this is an allowed use in M1, is the storage. And then under M2, limited industrial district, all uses involving the fabrication of materials within the confines of the building and in which any smoke, dust, flash, noise, or odor produced in the fabrication process is confined within the building. So this would cover the light manufacturing aspect of the proposed use. The lot area widths under section 13.0323 paren D are all met. The lot is 6.2 acres, which is greater than 20,000 square feet. And the lot is not less than 100 feet in width at the building setback line, so the lot itself is 575.68 feet wide at the building setback line, so it meets those standards. Building height and area, no building or part of a building shall exceed 35 in height except as provided in 13.0321C4, paren C, paren 4. Proposed structure is 20 feet high at the eaves, so again, we're not running into any issues. The sum total of the floor area of the principal building and all accessory buildings shall not exceed 50% of the lot area. The proposed total building area, 65,000 square feet, makes up 24.8% of the lot area. So again, it's compliant with our zoning code. Setbacks and yards, under section 13.0323 paren F, there shall be a minimum building setback of 30 feet from the right-of-way of all streets. The proposed structure is set back greater than 45 feet from the street right-of-way. There shall be a side yard on each side of all buildings, not less than 15 feet in width. The proposed structure is set back greater than 30 feet from the side yard. And then there shall be a rear yard of not less than 25 feet. The proposed structure is set back greater than 30 feet from the rear yard. So again, it meets the setbacks and yard requirements for M4 zoning district. Parking and loading spaces, there shall be a minimum of one off-street parking space for each employee, and no parking will be allowed within 10 feet from the public right-of-way. So there's 15 parking spaces with a proposed employment of 6 full-time employees per their business operation plan, and the proposed parking lot is not located within 10 feet from the public right-of-way. There shall be adequate loading areas to accommodate all necessary loading or unloading activities on the premises, and no loading dock or area shall be located within the street yard or a street setback area and no closer than 100 feet from the right-of-way of a public street access. There's 2 loading docks. The site plans need to show the distance from the right-of-way for those loading docks. So that would be a condition that we'd look for on when approving this conditional use permit, is to have that on the site plan. And then the special regulations, under 13.0323 paren H, kind of goes over encourages a business and industrial use environment that is compatible with the residential character of the city. This portion of the special regulations should be covered under the development, this development will undergo site plan review at the September 11th, 2023 Plan Commission meeting. So that is when that item needs to be addressed. So again, under 2017 Wisconsin Act 67, kind of gives us our guidelines for granting a conditional use permit. We do find substantial evidence that the criteria are met for 13.0323 C paren 1 in regards to the uses that are occurring there. It meets the criteria for lot area and width under 13.0323 paren D. It meets the criteria for building height and area under 13.0323 paren E. And it meets the setback and yard criteria under 13.0323 paren F. And then this time we don't have substantial evidence, but again, that's why we're adding conditions to the conditional use permit, is the parking and loading spaces. Again, we want that, the site plan to identify the distance between the right-of-way and the loading docks. Again, if they're over 100 feet away, then it's compliant. And then the special regulations, which kind of goes to the exterior design standards that would be determined during the site plan review. Again, that approval would occur at the September 11th, 2023 Plan Commission meeting, which includes the approval of the exterior construction materials. Right now, the only concern is on that is what percentage of corrugated metal facade do we want on the street-facing side versus brick? That would be a discussion at the site plan review for the Plan Commission to make that determination. Otherwise, again, we're recommending approval of the conditional use permit in the City of Hartford's M4 Industrial Park District at 1625 Independence Avenue for light industrial and warehousing land uses with, again, the following conditions. Site plan should identify distance between right-of-way and loading docks, and approval of the site plan at the September 11th, 2023 Plan Commission meeting, including approval of the exterior construction materials.
Thank you, Jacob.
You're welcome.
At this time, we would entertain any appearances in favor. Any appearances in favor? Appearances in favor. Any appearances in opposition? Appearances in opposition? Third and final call, appearances in opposition. This time, we'll close the hearing, and we'll open it up to discussion by the Planning Commission. Any questions, comments?
Jacob, what type of light manufacturing is it? Is it metal fabrication? What's it?
It really threw me off when I first looked at the site plan, like the preliminary ones, because it said showroom area. At first I was like, is this a car dealership? Because they have a showroom, but no, it's for vending machines and the manufacturing of vending machines. And apparently there's a big deal in having a showroom to show your vending machines that you've manufactured so that clientele can come in and see what type of vending machine. So I believe it's solely for the manufacturing and then the storage of vending machines.
So it's on the conditional, we're asking for conditional uses because because it's actually an industrial park and because they're going to put in a wholesale up in front, it's what's making it conditional then.
Pretty much any land use has to be reviewed via conditional use permit for the M4 district, just to make sure it fits in with the city's ideas of what should go into the M4.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, we need a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion by Joe,
I'll
motion by
second.
Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Let's see, official action regarding, I guess we just did that, didn't we? No, yes, we did. No. Official action regarding the proposal conditional use permit? We just voted that, right?
Right,
So,
yep.
we're good, okay. Planners report, zoning code rewrite.
All right, this one's gonna be brief. Article 9 is a new article in our zoning code. It's alternative development options. It covers conventional planned development districts, cottage housing projects, which fit into the part of the zoning code was funded by the county to facilitate different types of single-family, multifamily development. Cottage housing projects would be one of those. Adaptive reuse projects, that deals more with institutionally zoned properties that no longer function as an institution. How do we handle the redevelopment of those properties? And that can become quite an issue. In my prior city where I worked at, Bethesda pretty much left their corporate headquarters and that just sat there vacant. Luckily, it's been filled in by another foundation, but sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes churches close, and how do you redevelop church properties also becomes an issue. If you look downtown Lake Mills, right when you get downtown there's that one church that's for sale there towards the downtown. So it's how do we handle that when these institutional properties become available? How do we redevelop them in a way that goes with the city's future growth plans? The traditional neighborhood design project, that is actually a requirement by state statutes. In our current code, we have this MXZD or MXD zoning district, which I think was our attempt to kind of conform to that state legislation. However, it really doesn't meet that standard, so this is just us meeting that requirement of state statutes. It's gonna there is a model ordinance that we're supposed to use for that. To keep it simple, we're just going to, after legal review by the city attorney, just to reference that ordinance because they change over time, these model ordinances. You'll see that when we deal with the floodplain DNR one. Anytime they amend theirs, we have 6 months to adopt the DNR's thing. So this is kind of to reduce that type of readaptation of the model code every time it's changed by the entity that's tasked with writing that model code for the state. And then the conservation design subdivision, again, it's just looking at the best way to develop while allowing for green space, retaining green space and stuff like that. So it's another type of development that allows flexibility in our zoning code that we don't currently have. And then the final thing is, if you notice there's this map on the back, this area is kind of the old residential historical lot area of the city. We've recommended that they amend the boundary to pretty much kind of figure out all the original plats of the city. A lot of these lots are legal nonconforming. Dealing with legal nonconforming lots can be a pain, especially when it involves redevelopment, or if somebody just wants to add on to their property. Sometimes you can't just because so this would be a new special area within the city that would allow us to be more innovative in regards to how we handle these legal nonconforming lots in our older parts of the city that predate most subdivision codes or even our zoning code. So that way we're not those owners aren't running into the buzzsaw that is the zoning code, and the zoning code can be a buzzsaw for those type of developments or those type of residential structures.
Good point. And they're getting older and older and not having much chance to do, anything with it, so good to look at those. We don't need it was just a report, there's no.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask, but otherwise, there's no action on this item. It's just an update for you.
All right, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ralph.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Have a good